Hi, it's Lana from the Breathing Space, and today I'm here in this breath-centered foundations series video to help walk you through some adaptations for the sun salutations so that you can move with respect to your body's abilities in this moment, as well as respect for the depth and quality of your breath. So this is a really foundational movement in yoga practice, especially in Ashtanga Vinyasa practices or Ashtanga-based Vinyasa practices. So if you come here to the studio and practice, or if you go to another studio, and as well as the videos that are on the YouTube channel from the Breathing Space, we do these sun salutations a lot. So it can be really helpful to know some adaptations that you can take, whether you're a beginner or whether you're just coming back to practice from, let's say, recovering from illness or injury or surgery, or just having a day where you're a little bit less tired, that these adaptations can really help you and support you in practice so that you can do more with less. Okay, it may be helpful to have two blocks. For those of you practicing at home and you don't have yoga blocks, if you have a couple stacks of stable books, like probably hardcover books that are the same height, you could also potentially use that. Okay, so generally, if you're just in a lead practice and they're doing a traditional, not modified sun salutation, I'm going to lead you through all of the movements of that and how you can adjust them. And then I'm also going to show you where you can take movements out. So let's start. We usually start here in what's called samastitihi. You stand with your feet together and your arms by your sides. Okay, let's say your body proportions do not allow you to bring your feet together. Then separate your feet or just bring them as close as you can. Make sure that your knees are not being forced into some kind of strange position just to get your feet together. Yeah. If you can, feet together. If you can't, separate your feet. Okay. Also, if you've got a sore lower back or really tight hips, back, and hamstrings, it can be helpful to just practice with your feet at hip width distance. And then eventually over time, maybe you can bring them all the way together. Okay, so that's adaptation 1 of 500. Okay, so feet together if you can, arms by your sides. The first movement we make is an inhale. We inhale and reach our arms up overhead. Your palms can touch together, or you can keep your arms separated at shoulder width distance. Okay, so the adaptation, I would say, would be shoulder width distance, right? So your arms can just be shoulder width, or they come to your midline and your palms touch. If you are less mobile in your shoulders, you just reach your arms to where they can go. Yeah, they don't have to go all the way up if that's not possible. Okay, so the inhale to take your arms up, and then you exhale to fold forward. So folding forward, you may be restricted in how flexible you are, and the teacher will often say, put your hands on the floor, and maybe that doesn't work out for you. So if your hands don't quite reach the floor, there are a couple things you can do. Either hands on your shins towards your feet, and you just bend as best you can. Try to move from your hips as opposed to rounding into this position, right? So you try to move from your hips and just place your hands where it's possible. Might also be blocks, okay? Or you bend your knees and you go in towards your legs and just let your head drop. And even if your knees are bent, you are trying to straighten them, whether they straighten or not. Okay, so bent knees, hands to the floor, or hands a little higher, shins or blocks or feet. We'll just start over again. So you're inhaling, arms up. They can be shoulder width distance. Exhale, fold to the position that works for you. Try to work on folding from your hips instead of really rounding your back. Good. And then we inhale to a flat back position. So in this flat back position, and it can be helpful to have blocks underneath your hands. You want to focus on moving your tail back and your chest forward. Hands on blocks or knees bent or hands on shins. Right? I think the most important aspect of this flat back position is really your upper back. Think of this as a counteraction. It's really a counteraction to this, right? Whether it's scrolling on your phone or typing on the computer or just kind of like sad. This is sad posture. We want to counteract the sad posture. So that your flat back is really counteracting that sadness. Yeah. So flat back position. Use blocks at different heights. Go to your fingertips. Bend your knees a little bit. Even if you're bending your knees, you are trying to straighten your legs. Okay? We'll put the three together. So inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold to where you can. Inhale, your flat back position. And now we exhale and do something called Chaturanga Dandasana. So in Chaturanga Dandasana, you are in a straight line from your heels to your head. And when you're ready, on your exhalation, you bend your elbows backwards and lower towards the floor. Yeah, so oftentimes when we do this position, what happens is we bend our elbows and end up doing this, kind of like sagging into a banana position. If you feel like you're a banana, then you need to support yourself. So you put your knees on the ground. Keep your belly taut, so you're still trying to make a straight line in your body from the back of your head down through your tail and the back of your knees. And then with an exhale, with as much control as possible, lower all the way to the floor. Once you can control your descent, then you can stop before you hit the ground. But if you feel like you're out of control, that this sags, or that your shoulders go into your ears, or that you have to dive into the ground and stick your butt up, then I would say find the support and just go all the way to the floor. Just let yourself go down until you can really control what you're doing. On your inhalation, from the floor, loop your shoulders back. Pull your chest off the ground, try to be active about it, and lengthen your legs. So this is when the teacher would call upward facing dog or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Shoulders back, chest forward, legs long. If you feel comfortable in this position, you can actually push yourself a little higher with your knees on the floor, your chest forward. Actively push your knees down and move your chest forward. So I'm pushing the ground away and I'm lifting my head a bit. So that would be another variation. If you can't come into the full knees off the ground, feet down, chest forward. And then from there we go to downward facing dog. So your hips are up in the air and your hands are relatively far from your feet. Your heels might not touch the ground. That's okay. Try to get your butt as far up and back as possible. You can bend your knees to do that and push the top of your mat away. If your shoulders are less flexible, blocks underneath your hands can actually help send your weight more towards your feet and give you a little bit more movement back. If your hamstrings are really in the way, bend your knees and lengthen backwards. Even if your knees are bent, you are trying to straighten them whether they actually straighten or not. Downward dog can be a really challenging position. So a nice adaptation for your downward dog is puppy dog pose. So if you've gone to downward dog and you just need a rest for a moment, you put your knees on the floor, walk your hands a little bit forward, and place your head on the ground. So now you're still relatively in the same position. You can do this in a more active way by walking your hands forward as well. If you need a break in between, you can also just drop your knees to tabletop position and just transition between your downward dog and your tabletop position. Or if you need even more of a break, toes together, knees a little bit wide, and you sit your butt backwards and drop your head down for child's pose. Let's put all of these bits together and do a couple versions of a modified sun salutation. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Try to move from your hips. Inhale to flat back position. Exhale, step to high plank. Put your knees on the floor and lower to the ground. Inhale, lift your chest forward like a cobra. And then exhale, push yourself back. Puppy dog pose. Breathe. 1, 2, nice steady breathing. 3, 4, 5. We'll pretend like we stood there for 5 breaths. And then we're gonna go back to the flat back position. So you just take a couple steps, walk forward, lift your chest, and then exhale, do your forward folds. Inhale, stand up, arms overhead, and then samastitihi. So that's one modification. Here's another one. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, your forward folds. Inhale, flat back position. Exhale, step high plank position. Stay here. Put your knees down. Inhale to a modified upward facing dog. So your knees are down. You suspend yourself between your knees and your hands. And then exhale, downward facing dog. And then you stay here and breathe for 5 breaths. Or you put your knees on the ground. Or you take child's pose. After your 5 breaths, teacher will say, step forward, take as many steps as you need, get as close to your hands as you can. Flat back position. Exhale, do your forward folds. Inhale, stand up, reach up, and then samastitihi. So you just skipped the chaturanga there. Okay, one more modification that you can do. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, your forward folds. Inhale, your flat back. Right, remember, you could also use your blocks. Exhale, downward facing dog. The teacher is still calling chaturanga. They've called upward dog on the inhale, and they've called downward dog on the exhale. And you're just an extra breath in downward dog. So you get the benefit of being upside down for just an extra breath, right? You breathe here for 5 times, and then we inhale and you walk and get your feet forward towards your hands for flat back. Exhale, do your forward fold. Inhale, stand up. And exhale, samastiti. Okay, so those are different ways to approach your Sun Salutation A. Let's look at Sun Salutation B. So it's really very similar. There's just going to be a different way to move your feet forward and backwards. Let's begin. Surya Namaskara B starts in Utkatasana, that's chair pose. Okay, so you inhale, bend your knees like sitting into a little chair, and you take your arms up. Again, they can be shoulder width or touching. Exhale, fold forward, your forward fold. Use any of the versions that worked. Inhale, your flat back position. Use the one that works for you. However, you can get your back as long as you can. Right, remember the counter posture to sadness. And exhale, step, do your version of chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, and stay on the floor. Exhale, you push back, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward. So now this can be quite difficult to get your foot forward. So I'm going to show you a couple ways of doing that. You inhale and step as far as you can. Catch your ankle and help it a little bit more. Put your back heel on the ground, and then you come up and take your arms up. So that's one way of getting forward. If it's difficult to get your foot forward, this is where blocks can also be really handy, because that little extra space that they give away from the floor can actually give you room to move your foot forward. So if we did our chaturanga position, right, I'll just take plank pose. And then we did our upward dog version, and then we move into the downward dog. And in order to step forward, having my hands on blocks can actually give me a lot of clearance to step forward more easily. So that can be a help, right, when you are coming up. Okay. Generally in class, we're doing this in one breath. So if I'm in downward dog, and then I step forward and put my heel down, I might only get this far, right? If I need a little extra stability, my hands on my thighs, just leave out the arms up. That's fine. You can just have your hands here. Then you'll put your hands back on the floor for that chaturanga position again. So you do your version of chaturanga, and then you do either your upward dog or you skip it, and then you move to your downward dog. And you'd step the left foot forward. Yeah, so you step to where you can, give a little help if you need, back heel down, arms up or hands push on your thigh, and then exhale, lower. Okay, so just an extra adaptation here. Instead of putting your back heel on the ground, just keep it lifted. This can be helpful if you have ankle stuff going on. Maybe you've rolled your ankle and it's a bit sensitive, so putting it down on the floor might not feel so great. You could also just move towards a high lunge position with your back heel up. Okay, it might feel better in the beginning as well. Okay, so that would look like, if we've just moved to our downward dog from the right side, we're going to the left side. I'm just going to take a nice big step and stand up if I can. Oops, I take my arms up and be as stable as I can. And then hands on the floor blocks. You do your version of chaturanga, your upward dog, your cobra, or you skip it, and then downward facing dog. Okay, and then you would walk forward on your flat back and exhale, fold. You do your Utkatasana and then stand up. All right, so I'm going to show a couple ways of modifying now. So we'll just go through a couple of options. Okay. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, your forward folds. Inhale, your flat back position. Exhale, downward facing dog. The teacher's calling chaturanga. You're staying here. The teacher calls upward dog. You inhale. And then the teacher calls downward dog when you exhale. Step your right foot forward, warrior one. A nice big step as far as it can go and come up. Exhale, hands back to the floor. Chaturanga, you go to downward dog. Inhale, she calls or he calls upward dog, you stay, and exhale. And now you're ready to do the left side. So inhale, you step to where you can, you come up. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Just go to downward dog. The teacher calls inhale, upward dog, you just inhale. The teacher calls exhale, downward dog. You stay right where you are and breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, you go forward, take as many steps as you need, your version of flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Utkatasana, you bend your knees, you reach your arms as high as you can. Exhale, Samastiti. All right, let's do another version. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back position. Exhale, step your left foot back, stay in a high lunge. Breathe in, lift your chest forward. This is when they go to upward dog. Exhale, she'll call downward dog. You stay. Inhale, spin your back heel down. Use your hands to help you up, reach up. And exhale, place your hands back on the floor. Inhale, high plank position, upward dog position. And then exhale, you can go to downward dog position. Step your left foot forward. Inhale, come up to the best of your ability. Reach up, look up. Exhale, release your hands to the floor. Stay in the high lunge position. Breathe in, heart is forward. They're all going to upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe here 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, walk forward. Flat back. Exhale, fold. Your Utkatasana, like sitting in a little chair, arms up. Exhale, Samastiti. And we'll do another version. Utkatasana, inhale. Fold, exhale. Flat back, inhale. Exhale, your chaturanga, knees down, go to your belly. Inhale, cobra, or go to your knees, or lift all the way up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, back heel to the ground. Inhale, chest up. Exhale, hands to the floor, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward. Inhale, come up. Exhale, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Just placing your knees on the floor and getting stable. Inhale, move your chest forward through your arms. And exhale, downward dog, child's pose, puppy dog pose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Use your inhale to walk forward, lift your chest, flat back. Exhale, fold. Utkatasana, inhale. Exhale, Samastiti. And then just one more adaptation. She's just going to leave out some postures. Okay, Utkatasana, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, your flat back. Exhale, the teacher calls chaturanga, you go to down dog. Teacher calls inhale, upward dog, you just inhale. Exhale, he calls down dog. And then we're going to the right side. Right foot forward, you step to where you can, inhale. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana, you go to downward dog. Teacher calls inhale, up dog, you just inhale. Teacher calls downward dog, you exhale with them, you're already there. Step your left foot forward as far as you can. Inhale, right? It doesn't have to be very far. You go to what you can. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana, you go to down dog. Breathe in with them, upward dog. Breathe out with them, downward dog. You're already there. Stay and breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, go forward. Take as many steps as you need. A big step if you can. Exhale, do your forward fold. Utkatasana, bend your knees, arms up. Samastitihi, exhale. Okay, so those were adaptations or different forms of Sun Salutation B. I think the biggest help is to just pay attention to breathing. And so every movement has an inhale or an exhale coupled to it. If you can be really stable and steady in your breath, then you're miles beyond many people doing crazy postures around you. So be true and steady to your breath. That has the most effect on your practice, on your body, on your mind. So really focus on that and adapt or scale back on the movements as much as you need to be true and breathe with integrity. So you can start weaving these modifications and try them out on your own into practices that you do, whether it's here at the studio in the breathing space here in Amsterdam, whether it's following some of the online tutorials or videos that are in this series, or even any of the other videos that I have here on this YouTube channel. You could maybe, as a first step, check out the 20-minute minimum daily practice. That is just sun salutations and some seated postures. If you haven't already, check out some of the other tutorials and videos in this series. The playlist is the Breath-Centered Foundation series, so check it out. Let me know if you have questions. Feel free to leave a comment or send me an email and be in touch. Thanks for being here.